If your knees have been giving you trouble lately, you're not alone. It's one of the most common challenges as we age, and it can make even simple tasks feel like climbing a mountain. But here's the thing, many of us are unknowingly making it worse without even realizing it. Today, I want to share 5 common mistakes that can quietly speed up the wear and tear on your knees. Because if you catch these early, you can keep moving longer, stay active, and avoid a future where every step feels like a chore. So, stick with me. It's not too late to make a change. Ignoring early warning signs. All right, let's start with the first thing you should never do if you have knee pain in old age, ignoring the early warning signs. It's tempting to brush off a little knee discomfort, especially if it only flares up now and then. Maybe it's a dull ache after a long walk, a bit of stiffness in the morning, or a sharp twinge when you step off a curb. You might even tell yourself, it's just part of getting older. My knees have been around a long time. They're allowed to complain a bit. But here's the thing, that kind of thinking can quietly turn a minor problem into a major one, and faster than you might expect. Think about it. How many times have you pushed through pain, telling yourself it'll go away on its own? Maybe you used to run up and down stairs without a second thought, and now you catch yourself gripping the handrail a little tighter. Or maybe you started avoiding the long walks you used to love, choosing the closest parking spot just to avoid those few extra steps. These small adjustments might feel like no big deal in the moment, but they add up. Knee pain is your body's way of waving a little red flag, telling you that something isn't right. And the longer you ignore it, the more you risk permanent damage. What starts as a small, manageable issue can slowly become a constant, throbbing pain that affects every part of your day, from standing up to sitting down, even to sleeping through the night. It's like ignoring a slow leak in a roof. Eventually, it turns into a full-blown flood, and by then, the damage is much harder to repair. I've known people who thought they were just dealing with a bit of stiffness or a normal age-related ache, only to find themselves needing surgery later because they didn't take those early signs seriously. And that's a tough pill to swallow. One friend of mine, a retired carpenter, once said, "If I had known how quickly this knee pain would change my life, I would have done something about it sooner." So, if you're noticing even a hint of knee pain, don't just shrug it off. Pay attention. That little ache might be your body's way of saying, "Hey, I need a bit of care here." Don't wait for it to shout at you before you listen. Pushing through the pain without rest or recovery. All right, moving on to the second thing you should never do if you have knee pain. Pushing through the pain without giving your knees the rest and recovery they need. It's a common mindset, especially if you've been active most of your life. Maybe you've always prided yourself on being tough, pushing through discomfort, and never letting a little pain slow you down. After all, that's a mentality that got you through long work days, raised families, and maybe even a few stubborn DIY home projects. But here's the hard truth. Ignoring pain and pushing through it can actually make things much worse. It's like driving a car with a flashing check engine light. Sure, you can keep going for a while, but eventually, something is going to break. Knee pain is often a sign that the muscles, tendons, or cartilage in your joint are under stress. And when you keep pushing without letting those tissues recover, you're just adding fuel to the fire. Small tears can become big ones. Inflammation can lead to permanent damage. And what started as a minor annoyance can turn into a life-changing injury. I've seen it happen. A neighbor of mine, Bob, used to hike every weekend, rain or shine. He was out there, but he started noticing a dull ache in his right knee. Instead of resting, he just tightened his knee brace and kept going. He didn't want to lose his fitness, didn't want to slow down, didn't want to admit he was aging. But after a particularly long hike, he ended up with a torn meniscus. The recovery was long, painful, and frustrating, and it kept him off the trails for nearly a year. So, if you find yourself thinking, it's just a little pain, I can push through it, take a step back, listen to your body. It's okay to rest. In fact, it's essential. Taking a few days off now can save you months or even years of recovery down the road. Because at this stage in life, your knees don't just bounce back like they used to. They need time, care, and a bit of patience. So, don't make the mistake of ignoring their warnings just to keep up with an old routine. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is give yourself a break, neglecting muscle strength and joint support. All right, let's move on to the third thing you should never do if you have knee pain, neglecting the muscles that support your knees. You might think that knee pain is all about the bones and joints, but the truth is, your muscles play a huge role in keeping your knees strong and stable. They're the shock absorbers, the stabilizers, the unsung heroes that keep everything in place when you walk, stand, or even just get out of a chair. Think of your knees like the hinges on a door. If those hinges are constantly under stress, they're going to wear out faster, right? But if you have strong, supportive muscles acting like solid door frames, those hinges don't take nearly as much punishment. Here's the thing. As we age, we naturally lose muscle mass. It's called sarcopenia, and it starts happening around your 40s and 50s, whether you notice it or not. By the time you're in your 60s or 70s, it can become a real problem if you're not actively fighting it. We're talking about the muscles in your thighs, the quadriceps, the ones in the back of your legs, the hamstrings, and even the ones around your hips and calves. All of these muscles work together to support your knees. I've seen this firsthand. I have a neighbor, Susan, who was always a fast walker, practically power walking to the grocery store. But over the years, she started skipping her morning walks because of knee pain. The less she walked, the weaker her leg muscles became. Before long, stairs started feeling like mountains, and getting up from the couch became a major effort. The pain didn't just stay in her knees. It spread to her hips and lower back, creating a cascade of problems that started with weak leg muscles. The good news? You can turn this around. You don't have to hit the gym or start squatting like a bodybuilder. Simple exercises like seated leg raises, chair squats, or gentle wall sits can make a world of difference. Even just taking a few extra steps each day, using resistance bands, or doing light stretching can help. So, if you want to protect your knees, make building muscle strength a priority. It's one of the best things you can do to keep moving, stay independent, and avoid those dreaded joint replacements. Because the truth is, strong muscles mean strong knees, and strong knees mean a stronger, more active life, ignoring the impact of extra weight on your knees. All right, moving on to the fourth thing you should never do if you have knee pain, ignoring the impact of extra weight. I know this can be a sensitive topic, but it's one of the most important ones to address. Your knees are some of the hardest working joints in your body, supporting you every time you stand, walk, or climb a flight of stairs. And every extra pound you carry adds even more strain to those already stressed joints. Here's a simple but eye-opening fact. For every pound of body weight you gain, your knees feel about 4 extra pounds of pressure when you walk, and even more when you go up or down stairs. That means if you put on 10 pounds over the years, your knees are dealing with the equivalent of 40 extra pounds every time you move. It's like strapping a heavy backpack to your legs and expecting them to keep going without complaint. I've seen this play out in real life. A friend of mine, Tom, always loved golfing, but as he got older, he put on a bit of weight. At first, it didn't seem like a big deal, just a few extra pounds here and there. But soon, his knees started acting up. He found himself wincing every time he bent down to pick up a golf ball, and the long walks between holes became a real challenge. It got to the point where he was thinking about giving up the game he loved, just because his knees couldn't handle the strain anymore. Then one day, his doctor sat him down and said, "Tom, if you can shed just 10 or 15 pounds, your knees will feel the difference." That was a wake-up call. Tom made a few small changes, cutting back on sugary drinks, walking a bit more each day, and paying closer attention to his portions. Within a few months, he had dropped 15 pounds, and the difference was night and day. He was back on the golf course, swinging with confidence and without the constant reminder of aching knees. I'm not saying you have to drop 50 pounds or train for a marathon. Sometimes, even a small reduction in weight can have a big impact on your knees. It's about giving those joints a break, reducing the daily grind they go through, and making movement a little easier again. So, if you've noticed your knees have been acting up lately, consider this. Could a few pounds be making a big difference? Because in the end, a lighter body means lighter steps, and lighter steps mean a longer, healthier life on your own 2 feet. Skipping the right kind of movement. All right, we've made it to the final thing you should never do if you have knee pain. Skipping the right kind of movement. It might seem logical to rest your knees when they hurt, to take it easy and avoid making things worse. After all, when something aches, our first instinct is often protected, to give it a break. But here's the twist. Avoiding movement altogether can actually make things worse over time. Your joints are designed to move, and when you stop using them, they start to stiffen, weaken, and become even more prone to injury. It's a bit like a door hinge. If you stop opening and closing it, it doesn't just stay the same. It starts to creak, rust, and eventually get stuck. Your knees work the same way. They need regular, gentle movement to stay strong and flexible, to keep the cartilage healthy, and to maintain the muscles that support them. I've seen this happen to my neighbor, Mary. She used to be a dancer in her younger years, light on her feet, graceful, always moving with a kind of effortless elegance. But as her knees started to ache, she cut back on her daily walks, stopped her gentle yoga stretches, and even avoided the stairs in her own house. The result? Her muscles weakened, her joints stiffened, and her overall mobility took a steep decline. What started as a small, manageable ache turned into a constant, debilitating pain, simply because she stopped moving. The key here is finding the right kind of movement. High-impact exercises like running or jumping can be rough on your knees, but low-impact options like swimming, cycling, or walking on soft, flat ground can help keep those joints strong without overstressing them. Gentle stretching, balance exercises, and strength training for your leg muscles can also work wonders. Even something as simple as moving your knees through their full range of motion each day, bending, stretching, and rotating, can keep your joints lubricated and your muscles strong. It's like oiling that creaky door hinge. The more you use it, the smoother it moves. So don't make the mistake of avoiding movement just because your knees hurt. Listen to your body, but don't let pain convince you to give up on staying active. Because when it comes to your knees, move it or lose it isn't just a catchy saying. It's a critical piece of staying mobile and independent in your golden years. And remember, it's not just about avoiding pain. It's about staying strong, staying active, and keeping your freedom for as long as possible. All right, so there you have it. 5 things you should never do if you have knee pain in old age. I know this might seem like a lot to think about, but here's the good news. It's never too late to start making small, meaningful changes. Your knees have carried you through a lifetime of steps, from the awkward first ones as a toddler to the steady, confident strides of adulthood. They've helped you dance at weddings, chase after grandchildren, and walk beside the people you love. They've been with you through it all, and they deserve a little care in return. So, if you're noticing those early warning signs, don't ignore them. If you're tempted to push through the pain, take a moment to rest. If you've been putting on a few extra pounds, consider how it might be affecting those hard-working joints. And if you've been avoiding movement altogether, find a gentle way to keep those knees moving and strong. Because at this stage in life, the goal isn't just to avoid pain, it's to keep living, moving, and enjoying every step for as long as you can. Thanks for spending this time with me today. If you found this video helpful, consider sharing it with someone else who might need a gentle nudge to take better care of their knees. And if you have your own tips or experiences with knee pain, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, take care of those knees and keep moving forward, one step at a time.